Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
Let's have a discussion. People have questions. They would like answers. Let's talk about the issues. Confront the things that may be difficult to address. The Black narrative. Greetings and welcome. My name is Steve Muhammad, the host of Black Narrative on National Network View. And today we're going to be talking about modesty. And we're going to be talking about how our images are portrayed on these social media sites, since many of us are sheltering in place. So before we do that, we're going to check out this Black Narrative report.
What parents need to know: experts are raising concerns that young kids using this popular app could be exposed to inappropriate content. Becky Worley is here with a closer look. Good morning.
TikTok has over 1 billion users, according to industry estimates. It's that hot. And young children seem to flock to the app. You may think it's a lot of fun lip-syncing videos, but some of the more mature content on the site shocked experts and parents alike.
I like big boys, itty bitty boys.
But the dark side, content that would be totally inappropriate.
The female. She's looked upon more like a plaything than the serious creation that Almighty God intended for her to be. The sad thing about sister is she doesn't recognize her value. So she plays into Satan's game of degenerating the female and making her to see herself only as an object of pleasure. And so the enemy undresses her. For the enemy wants her to use the beauty of her form to attract the natural lust in a man, to keep his mind focused below the navel in the underworld, so he can never see the value of her and climb to the heavenly part of his natural existence. So the moment you lower a woman, you automatically lower the man. The moment you elevate the woman, you elevate the man. How is that so? My teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men for the woman. And the black woman in particular is the mother of civilization.
All right. You just watched and heard the powerful words of the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And today we have with us, joining us to talk about this subject, we have Sister Tamorah. Yes. Assalamu alaikum, sister. And
Wow.
she is a mother, she's a wife, she's a healer, and the founder of Modesty International, where she and other MGT teach women and children about modesty and being chaste. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Modesty International.
Sure. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. My name is Sister Tamorah Shareef Muhammad, and I started Modesty International in 2000. And the reason why I started Modesty International is because I was sitting back and watching TV one day, and I was watching TV with my daughters, and these images of indecent images of women were on the screen. And I said, you know, we have to start a group that is centered around modesty to show the world what true modesty is. And so that is what prompted me to start Modesty International. We started with a group first. I had sisters post their pictures in the group with their garments on, so that we could show social media, you know, you can look beautiful in your garments. It's okay to be modest. It's okay to be chaste. And it took off from there. And I did an interview with Sister Audrey Muhammad. And I did an interview for the Final Call magazine as well. So ever since then, Modesty International has been in the play. We reached tons of sisters. We just did a meet and greet talking about modesty with dress, eating, how we should act at home and abroad. So that's how Modesty International came about.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Because we see on social media, we see a lot of these challenges, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
one, the silhouette challenge, another one called Busset challenge,
Yeah.
and I I hashtagged it just to see what it was all about, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
kind of regretting
Yes, sir.
regretting hashtag. I mean, it's on the verge of soft pornography in truth. So your organization or the movement, Modesty International, is definitely something that's needed. Um, can you talk just a little bit more about Modesty International and um, what you're trying to help to educate, particularly young Black women, and of course, indirectly young Black men about modesty?
When the silhouette challenge and the busted challenge was going on, we had our own individual challenge. We called it the Modesty Challenge. I don't know if you've seen that on Twitter. We had posted videos, we had posted pictures, and we had a lot of sisters say, "This is beautiful. I love the garment." So we weren't trying to make the women that were doing the silhouette challenge feel bad, because honestly, before we came into the Nation of Islam, we were just like those sisters until we found
Mhm.
truth. So we never want to belittle anyone. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan he said that it is hard for a redeemer. So he said it's hard for a redeemer. So we have to keep pushing to push modesty in the world so everyone can see what true modesty is about. Um, Another thing that Modesty International does is we teach women about chastity, to stay pure and chaste until marriage. Why? Because this world is full of filth. They will try to pull you down and say that, oh, you're still a virgin. Why? Go out here and do this, go out here and do that. So we're trying to teach the women that it's okay to stay chaste. It's okay to stay pure until you're married. A lot of women get their names drugged through the mud because, they've lost their virginity and they're doing this and that. But we want to say to these women and children that you don't have to be peer pressured into doing these things. You could stay pure and chaste into marriage. So that's one of the things that we're teaching as well.
And you make up a good point right there, sister, is that one of the things that we want to do on this program is this is not a program that's, condemning,
Right.
anybody. Like you said, we're all
Mm-hmm.
just coming out of the mud. And
Mm-hmm.
so, this program that we are having this conversation is not to be judgmental. We're not trying to say that we're so holier than thou, because
Right.
like I said, all of us have some cleaning up to do, if you will. So if you can, tell us about the garments. And as you were saying to me offline,
Mm-hmm.
these beautiful garments that we see on the MGT,
Yes,
tell
sir.
us how that came about.
Well, Master Farad Muhammad came to set us apart from the different cultures that's in the world. When he came, he gave us a distinct dress to set us apart from this world. He gave us a distinct dress um, that identifies us as the member of the nation, as members of the Nation of Islam. We don't take on the culture of our African sisters. We don't take on the culture of our Indian sisters. He came to do away with the old and set us on a new. So that's where our garments are from. Can you imagine Master Farah Muhammad coming 9,000 miles to save us and giving us silk scarves?
Right.
He did that to bring about modesty. And when you think about Mary, Mary was covered. Mary was covered, and she sets the example for all of us. My example is Mary. My example is Mother Khadijah. My example is Mother Tynetta. And that's one of the reasons why we started Modesty International. So he gave us a dress to set us apart from the rest. And I'm grateful.
Absolutely. And one of the things too, when you go back and you look at these older pictures, right,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
see from slavery all the way up to the point of integration, you know,
Yes.
women would cover themselves, you
Yes.
know, or at least wear a decent dress.
Yes.
And even the style of clothes that we see today, and I hate to, you know, I hate to say this, but it would embarrass a prostitute of old, because today you have clothing, what is considered clothing, that is just so fitting, like spandex. But like you said, talk a little bit about the cultural influences, and if we can, I want to just play this clip where a sister is talking about self-esteem and how all of our self-esteem is really lacking because of how this society is structured. And so if we could play that clip, hopefully they got it loaded up and we'll go right into it.
Yes, sir.
I've had enough assimilation and pressure to wear skimpy clothes. I just need to rest. I don't need, on a daily basis, your beauty supply store packaged hair of Brazilian wavy, yaki, Remy, silky, with a needle, thread, or glue. That's only gonna have me looking like a carbon copy of you. Your idea of fashion and superficial images of beauty are everywhere, leaving me trapped, lonely, and unwanted.
That's a powerful clip, and that affects not just sisters, but that affects brothers as well. That was Sister Alicia Thompson. She did a TEDx in Ferguson. But can you talk about, you know, that low self-esteem and how this society really, you know, through social media, you see everybody's having fun, everybody's dressed so nice. But can you talk about that social media and its impact on our mental state?
Well, I would say this: low self-esteem. I've been through that phase. I'm gonna share my individual story about my low self-esteem and how I was able to overcome it. Social media plays a big part in that. Even when you present your natural hair or your natural style, you'll get made fun of. And that's how low self-esteem comes about. But words are powerful. And when you're on a low vibrational level, you're going to continue to have that low self-esteem. So words are powerful. So you have to begin to affirm yourself every day, because you're a God. And you also have to pray and pray to Allah that He lifts up your spirits and keeps you from having low self-esteem, so that your self-esteem can be raised higher. So how do you tackle that? You affirm yourself. You affirm yourself every day. Nothing of this world keep you low down in the mud and think less of yourself. We are gods. We are the second self of Allah. We helped Him to make the sun, moon, and stars. And we have to remember that. So I would say to any woman that's feeling like that, says you're a God. God made you perfect, but we have some imperfect ways. But you can change that. You don't have to stay in this low rut. You know, God came to save all of us. So He'll take you higher.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. You know, I think one of the things that, you know, this culture and this society has done is it has, of course, disconnected us with our source, and understanding that we are God's children of the Most High God, each and every one of us. So let me check this out. And it's kind of funny, but it's sad at the same time, right? And that is, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about female groups, right, in the past, and how their names were like the Supremes, and how today you have the names of some female groups with the B word in it, with attitudes and so forth and so on. But listen to this. In 1939, you had Billie Holiday with Strange Fruit, a culturally conscious song. You had the Supremes with Stop in the Name of Love. And to note, Sister Mary Wilson passed, founder a member of the Supremes passed. So our condolences, of course, to her family. You had Aretha Franklin in 67 with Respect. So after integration, now you have, up to the day. So now the song that was the craze, if you will, was Cardi B featuring Megan Thee Stallion, the WAP song. And so once again, you know, these cultural influences, tell us, how can sisters connect with you? How can they begin to, because some of them, because in that clip, the sister talked about being a motherless child.
Right.
Can you talk about how they can connect with you, how they can begin to build this self-esteem and protect themselves against the wiles of this world?
Absolutely. You can connect with me on Facebook. You can inbox me on IG at Tamorah_the healer. You can contact me on Modesty, the best policy. We're on all social media outlets. Contact us. We'll have a conversation. People don't understand when in Modesty International, we have auditors within our group. And it's not just for us, it's for sisters as well. It's for all sisters, it's for all brothers. So we have auditors in our group like Sister Naira that our sisters can talk to about their low self-esteem. Why are they depressed? Why are they going through this with their family? Sister Naira is an excellent example for helping our people. So we have sisters that, because in this world will body shame you to the fullest. And we don't want to put any more shame on those sisters because that's not what our organization is about. But we do want to help you to come up out of there. We have Exercising by Sister Audrey, Eating Healthy by Sister Monique. These are sisters that will help you within our group to rise above low self-esteem, depression, anxiety. We have been given the tools of how to eat to live. We have been given the tools to not allow our minds to wander in a dark space. So I'm grateful for these sisters that are a part of Modesty International. This is how you can reach us. We are on Facebook under Modesty International. Again, we're on Instagram under Modesty, the best policy. And you can reach me on my personal page. If you don't feel comfortable with talking to the sisters yet, you can always reach out to me.
All right. And so we are here with Sister Tamorah Shareef Muhammad, and we're going to take this quick break for the final call report, and we'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Greetings. This is Shareef Shareef Muhammad with National Network View. This week's Final Call coverage story honors a legend, the great Cicely Tyson. The Black actress and fashion icon whose career spanned over 7 decades has passed away at the age of 96. Our sister received many awards and accolades for her work in film. In addition to her screen career, she garnered many awards for appearing in various great theater productions. Cicely Tyson was inducted into many halls of fame. The Final Call number 19 center page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a loving tribute to the great Cicely Tyson, who will be remembered as a strong Black woman who shattered stereotypes in the dramatic arts, a great star and example for civil rights, and a charitable sister who will be missed. To read more, subscribe to FinalCallDigital.com and tune in to Final Call Radio. This is Shareef Shareef Muhammad with the NNVNews.com Final Call cover story.
All right. And thank you once again for joining us on National Network View. My name is Steve Muhammad, and you're watching The Black Narrative. And we are here with Sister Tamorah Shareef Muhammad, who is the founder of Modesty International. And so we want to go ahead and talk about how we can conduct ourselves online, because we're all right now sheltering in place. So many of us are communicating through these social media platforms. But in many cases, as young people, we want to express ourselves. And because, as we were saying, some of us not being taught, we're expressing ourselves in an inappropriate way. Can you talk a little bit about that and how we can help young people to possibly regret something that they will regret in the future?
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. We have a social media guidebook that we follow as believers. So through that guidebook, we have to set the example for those who are on such social media. So if we say we're going to do one thing, we do something totally opposite to what we're doing, we have our lost found brothers and sisters that's going to look at that and be like, okay, well, you posted this, but it's totally contradictory to what you just said, and that puts us in
Right.
a bad light. So we have to we have to use the example of our social media guidebook. It is there for us to show the world that we know we can handle ourselves properly on social media. Imagine someone's uploading something in their garment, and the next picture is totally immodest. So what are our lost
Mm.
found brothers and sisters going to think? Are we Muslim
Right.
or are we not? So we have our social media guidebook and we follow those guidelines on social media. Right now, I know you're going to segue into the Reflecting Farrakhan challenge. So we're cleaning up our social media pages and we're showing the world modesty and the way we are as Muslim women and as Muslim men. So this is the proper way to show who we are. This is the proper way to show who we are. We're Muslims, we're upright, we're loving, and we're caring, and we have to go after our people.
Absolutely. How can we get that social media guidebook? Because that's definitely something that's needed.
Yes, you can get that. I think we had got it from Savior's Day through the Supreme Captain's office. I'm not for sure if he still has that, but
Okay.
you can actually ask your FOI captain or sister captain for the social media guidebook because it breaks down how you're supposed to act on social media. Like, I'll give you a prime example. If we have some things going on in our homes and we just want to just spout off, we're not supposed to display that kind of behavior on social media. Again, that can
Mm.
put us in a bad light. So it is better to pray to Allah, to have Him lift that anger up off you, and then come back in a calm spirit on social media. But we never want to display our home business on social media, and we never
Right.
want to fire off on anyone. We as Muslims, we set the example for those who want to come in the nation of Islam.
Absolutely. And some other things, of course, from social media that we have to be aware of that we have in that guidebook is that we don't never want people to know that we're on vacation, but
Right.
in Hawaii and
Mm-hmm.
not away from our home. I mean,
Location.
some of the things that we are doing, on social media. Are there anything else other than, of course, the modesty that you would like to share that we should be careful of with social media?
Displaying our children on social
Mm,
media. This is something that I had to learn. Displaying our
mm,
children because people can take those images and manipulate them and have it on
mm,
billboards with other families. So we have
mm.
to be careful what we post on social media. I know they have the daughter challenges and things of that nature, but we have to be careful with displaying pictures of our children on social media. And I know myself, I have to clean that up because I'm proud. I'm a proud mother. Me and my husband are proud of our children. I tend to display their rewards on social media. So, but yes, it is important that we don't do that because people can take our plenty of people have taken pictures and manipulated them, and it was pictures of people's children. So we
Mm.
want to be careful with displaying our children on social media.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
And as we know, Satan makes evil fair seeming, right? And we were just talking about the spandex
Yeah.
considered clothing.
Mhm.
Would you like to say just a little bit about that type of clothing and the state of mind that it puts both men and women in? And I'll say a little bit after you about the state
Okay.
of mind that it puts men in. But if
Right.
you would like to go right ahead.
The white man had totally taken our minds and warped it.
Right.
Even if, we're trying to bring people into a righteous mindset, but here he is, coming out with different clothing and saying, put this on so the whole world can see.
Hmm.
I just want to let the sisters know that modest is, we're classy women. You can be
That's right.
modest and classy at the same time. You don't have
And
to show, your thighs, your legs, your adornments just to get attention. Do you know that being modest is being, a lot of people will respect you? We
that's
have
right.
brothers and sisters, when we walk past brothers and sisters, they put away their cigarette, they put away their drink because we displayed modest behavior. So anyone that tells you that it's okay to dress improper for intention, tell them that this is not the proper way I want to dress. This music industry is messed up. The clothing industry is messed up. Even if a woman wanted to say, I want to dress modestly, they will put her in her mind that that's not going to garner any money and that's not going to garner any attention. So we need you to put on this spandex so we can sell our items. Sex sells, tight clothing sells. So we need to counterattack that and bring about modesty, modest clothing. Show the whole world what modesty is. Counterattack it with modest clothing. We have
Right.
the tools. We have the tools to do so. So
That's
yes.
right. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that was powerful what you just said, and I think I want to I want to make sure that people understand what you're saying, and that is that your clothing and your demeanor
Mm-hmm.
changes the atmosphere around you.
Yes.
It as Dr. Alim said, it builds this invisible force
Yes.
that commands, not demands, but commands respect. And that is something that as of course that the Black woman definitely needs, because the Black woman has always been, she's been disrespected on so many different levels, where the white woman herself, I remember they did one program, I think it was called The Help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Helping some white woman take care of her children,
Children.
when the story should have been on the Black woman taking care of the white woman's child and her children.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely. And if you want to go a little bit more, I guess, into that, because once again, I'm wearing this suit, and when we go to work, we wear a certain uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the dress? And you said a little bit in the beginning about the MGT and the fashion and sewing and putting these garments together.
Yes, sir. Our class is important. I thank Allah for our class. When we go to work, you just talked about going to work. We make our own garments to go to work in, or we'll try to find something to to match what we are sewing in class. So yeah, we display modesty at home and abroad, and by us doing that, tons of sisters look at us and say, "Wow, where'd you get that garment from? Who's teaching you how to sew? Who's teaching you to dress modestly?" So I'm grateful to Master Farah Muhammad for coming to us. I'm grateful for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I'm grateful for Minister Louis Farrakhan, who sets the tone for our class. We as women are beautiful in our garments, and we will remain beautiful in our garments. And I'm grateful when sisters say, when they're lost on their inboxes on Modesty International, and say, "I'm ready to process as an MGT. I'm ready to go through the channels of becoming a part of your class." That means that we did a great work to change the mindset of these women. So yes, modesty is important. Not just, at our homes, but out in the world. Because when we display that with our garments that we're wearing, we're turning heads in a positive way, not in a negative, but in a positive way. And I'm grateful.
Yes, absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about certain protocols, and we'll get right back into modest dress, but certain protocols that we have in the nation as far as communicating with people online. Can you say a little bit about what's appropriate and what's inappropriate as far as talking to like for instance, the opposite sex online? At what time should we cut that off? You know what I mean? And what type of conversation should we be having?
Well, if you're married, we're taught
Hmm.
in the Nation of Islam, you go through your spouse. If it's a male that needs to talk to you about any business, anything besides business, no. You talk to your the husband, you talk to the wife. That's proper. That's the proper channels. Same way on social media. We as MDT, we don't dive in a man's inbox and say, "Hey, how you doing?" On my social media, I can give a private example. It says, and I'm a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan, married to Rahman Sharif. Please, no DMs. That's letting people know that if you want to have a conversation with me, post a question in the comment area. I or my husband will answer that question. So I
Hmm.
follow the rules to the T. If I have my own business, my husband has his own business. If you have any questions regarding my products, you're gonna have to go through my husband to speak with me. That is the proper way how you handle situations like that, not just in home life, but on social media as well. And that's in the social media guidebook.
Yes, absolutely. And we definitely got to get this guidebook
Hmm.
out there
Yes,
for everyone.
yes.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to go into a little bit more of modesty and how we can keep our children chaste so that they can prepare themselves for a successful relationship. So, we'll be right back after this break.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
National Network View was recently banned from the media platform YouTube.com. Within 12 hours, the NNV IT department quickly sprung into action with an independent service system to back nnvnews.com. The nation's news network is now streaming content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As we extend gratitude for the believers' financial support through donations, this media activism will not stop. Please continue to be a part of a force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Donate to NNV News. This is Clifton Muhammad with National Network View.
All right, and we're back. My name is Steve Muhammad, Black Narrative, and we have a very special guest with us, Sister Tamorah Shareef Muhammad, who is the founder of Modesty International. And we're talking about how to keep our children safe on these social media sites, not just safe as far as, dressing properly and not putting certain pictures out there, but safe as far as even if you can say something to sister about, just keeping our children safe about, as you were talking about communicating with people online, we should definitely watch our children's social media activity.
When my oldest is on social media and my middle child as well. But I keep a close eye on them because they know that I'm attached to Twitter. They know I'm attached to Instagram and Facebook, and I have the passwords. So me and my husband, we constantly checking up on them just to make sure no predators are coming on their page. Nobody's inboxing them. That's how you keep a close eye on your children. Now, most families won't allow their children to have social media, but we have family that live out of state, and that's how we keep in contact with them by phone or on social media. So you have to keep
Mhm.
a close eye on your children. Make sure they're not getting an improper influence by those who are on social media that's warping their mindset to tell them to do other than what you're teaching them. So I would advise everyone who has children to please keep a close eye because our children can get bullied on social media. Again, it goes along with the pictures. They can take these pictures, upload them, and start making fun of our children. And we are soldiers, so we take care of our children. So if anything pops off, we're going to handle that. So we have to make sure that our daughters and our sons are
Right.
fully covered, and make
That's
sure
right.
that we have privacy settings on our children's pictures if we're going to upload them. But again, it's not a good idea to upload our children's pictures. So keep a close eye on your children when they're on social media. If you see any behaviors that is other than them, then have a conversation with them. Maybe even
That's
tell
right.
them to stay off of social media for a while. But it's imperative that we, take hold of our children's accounts, make sure they're okay, make sure they're not being bullied. And we have to,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying something happened, talk to your children sternly. Just let them know that we have a social media guidebook that covers that as well. And, just say that there's some predators on social media, and I just want to make sure that you're okay. So we
Yeah.
have to keep a tight knit on our children when they're on social media. It doesn't matter what age they are. We just have to keep a tight knit on
Yeah. Yeah. We sure do. I mean, I
them.
know Sister Danielle on this network. She
Hmm.
does one uh, where she talks about this sex trafficking.
Yes.
You got the sex trafficking, which they. Well, I won't get into the
Yeah.
whole Trump and everything.
Hmm.
However, it's a real situation, and really, it's not being reported in to the degree that it should.
Right.
Um, but let's go ahead and talk about one thing I wanted to ask you about
Hmm.
is that many people wouldn't associate our diet right with the food. I mean, with our dress. But can you talk a little bit about our diet, particularly eating the swine? Because as you know, in How to Eat to Live, it
Hmm.
talks about how that lowers, our
Hmm.
inhibitions. Go right ahead.
Absolutely. Modesty ties in with eating because Master Farad Muhammad said, I could sit on top of the world and tell everyone that the most beautiful nation is in the wilderness of North America, but do not let me catch you other than yourself. So, what does that mean? That means wait. So, modesty and eating goes hand in hand. Sister Monique in our group, Modesty International, just covered this. Prime example, Mother Clara, she was 120 pounds and she made sure that she stayed at that weight. So
Mm-hmm.
you, with modesty that ties in because you're a soldier. So you want to, make sure that you're eating healthy, working out, making sure that you're staying abreast of how much you're eating. So that ties in with what we're eating. Now, pork can make you look other than yourself. Um, I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about that. If you constantly eat the animal, you're going to start to look like the animal. So pork is not a good uh, meat for us to eat, especially if they're filled with strychnine worms that can like attach to your muscles and
Mm-hmm.
attach to your brain. So it is good for us to have a vegetarian diet, eat healthy foods. Make sure that we're growing our own food. Right now, Monsanto is heavily taking over our gardens. Bill Gates is trying to get into the gardening industry now, so it's no telling what our food is going to look at like at the supermarket. So it's very important that we take care of ourselves. It's too many of us dying at 40, dying at 50, dying at 60 because we're eating in the middle aisle of the grocery store and not, canning our food or making our own, growing our own food. So I would say modesty and how to eat to live ties in together.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you how to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you to stay slim and trim. Be lean
Absolutely.
during quarantine. So we don't want to, get in the habit of, you know, eating foods that we shouldn't be eating or weighing other than ourselves. And this is not to attack anybody at all, but we have a dietary guideline within the Nation of Islam that we must follow. And then if people see us eating the proper foods and weighing properly, they're gonna be like, wow, how did you do that? I'm gonna invite you to a meeting so you'll know
Mm-hmm.
how to eat to live. I'm gonna invite you to a meeting where you can hear our student minister Ishmael, and I'm gonna show you videos on how to eat to live. So modesty and how to eat to live, it ties in well.
Right. That's absolutely right.
Hmm.
And so now another topic, another subject that we're not trying to step on anybody's toes, right? We're not trying to say anything,
Hmm.
but tattoos and piercings, right?
Hmm.
We know that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that when you see people begin to put a lot of tattoos and piercings on themselves, that this is a sign of a nation that's heading towards savagery. And
Hmm.
once again, many of us who are in the nation, we have tattoos and we have piercings.
Hmm.
Uh, 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 um, but can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's getting to the extent where you see brothers with tattoos on their face, and now
Hmm.
you're actually beginning to see even sisters putting tattoos and of course the piercings on their face. But
Okay.
talk a little bit about that.
So to your point, the minister said, we're not worried. We're not, within the nation of Islam, we're not concerned with the old. We're concerned with the new. So if you come in the nation of Islam, you have piercings and tattoos. And if you want to become a registered Muslim of the nation of Islam, we have to tell you to get rid of your piercings. You can get rid of tattoos, but we're not concerned with the old. We're more concerned with the new. This society is messed up, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Mess up, and it will have our people doing things that they know they shouldn't do, but it's a body image thing. So if the
Mm-hmm.
white man say, oh, you'll look good with this tattoo on your face, you'll do this, you'll garner more attention and more fans if you do this, they'll say, wow, you have a tattoo on your face, I want one now. So it's all
Right.
about money. It's all about grabbing, having fans, more fan base. So it's horrible. The white man has just totally, completely messed with our minds to the point where,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing these things that, we shouldn't be doing, but now it's in our head like, oh yeah, it could garner more money, or it could get more attention, or I could get more fan base. So I'm gonna put this diamond in my head. I'm gonna put these tattoos on my face. I'm gonna
Right.
put these tattoos on my arms so I can get more attention, and maybe my fan base can do it as well. So
Right.
to get away from that, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we have to continue to go after our people. Continue to go
Mm-hmm.
after our people, so they
Right.
can know truth. We are not
Absolutely.
savages. We're not. We have a right.
Mm-hmm.
We have righteousness within us. We just have to tap into it. So we're not savages.
Right.
We're
Right.
righteous. We are righteous men and women, and we just
Mm-hmm.
have to continue to let our brothers and sisters know that you are the righteous. Tap into it. Don't listen to what the white man has to say at all. Tap into your righteousness.
That's right. And as that saying goes, we want to accept our own and be
That's it.
ourselves, because as this society, as you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
it tries to influence us, to head down a road that is not productive, if you
Right.
will,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we wanted to end with, we wanted to talk about the mindset, because let's be truthful, each generation is going to be competing harder than the generation before. So as we see the dress, as we see the clothing coming off with just the spandex, who knows what it will be in a few generations, where, you know, once again, there's competition for to attract the opposite sex. And then also with the tattoos and piercings, as we were just showing these pictures, who knows if we keep going down that road? This is the slippery slope that we're talking about right here. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. I do agree.
Yes. So now we have the lower the gaze, right? Can
Mm.
you talk? Can you talk about, especially as men, lowering our gaze, and as women when we're looking at each other, to be to have appropriate behavior with that, because even as men, when we do see sisters who are wearing these type of clothing, the best thing for us to do is to, out of respect for them and out of respect for ourselves, to lower our gaze, because looking at women in the form, in the woman's form, definitely is going to put us in a different type of mindset. And brothers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But can you talk a little bit about that, sister?
Yes, sir. Lowering the gaze will keep your desires in check. Brothers and sisters, that's not in the Nation of Islam yet. They have a totally different mindset than what we have right now. So it is very beneficial that you do lower your gaze. You don't want to be gawking at women, looking at them in an improper way and lusting after them. That goes for the men. That goes for the women as well. They do that to men. But we've gotten away from modesty. We've gotten away from shyness. And so it is very important that we lower our gaze so that we don't draw attention to ourselves. Women be like, "Oh, did you just look at me?" And they're like, "I have a boyfriend," and then that starts a fight. So to
Right,
keep our gazes in check, we have to lower our gaze and keep our desires in check, and that helps a lot. So
right.
lowering your gaze keeps your desires in check.
So we'll just touch on two more topics,
Mhm.
and that let's touch on respect, protect, and elevate the Black woman. One
Mhm.
of the things that we definitely talk about in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is taught by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, is, the woman is the second self of God. Can
Mhm.
you just, I'll let you talk about the importance and the value of the woman, and why we as men need to respect, protect, and elevate our women.
I just had a social media discussion about this. If you're following Twitter, there's a lot of sisters that feel like they cannot be protected by the brothers because
Mm,
of what has happened to them.
mhm.
But we counter attack that. And I always say to the sisters that you are a second self of Allah, you deserve protection. So the man has to protect and elevate the Black woman. It doesn't matter if you have an issue with her.
Right.
You still have to protect her. You still have to protect her. There's so many men out here to say, I'm not protecting her because she's not submitting to me. Well, what are you giving her to submit to?
Mm,
So again, it goes to back to respect and elevating the Black woman at all times. I don't care if you had a past relationship with her. I don't care if you're on the outs. I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if you have a child with this woman, it is your duty to protect your child and her. It doesn't matter if you're still with her or not. So I would say to the men, to stop taking this disgruntled attitude about uplifting the Black woman and just go ahead and do it. I don't
mhm,
care if it's your ex-wife. I don't care if it's your
mhm.
ex-girlfriend. You still have a duty to uplift them because you have children with them and they deserve your protection. So it's important that the men do that. Yes, we are the second self of Allah. You wouldn't be here without a woman. You
That's
wouldn't
right.
be you wouldn't learn your ABCs or your 1 2 3s without a woman. You
That's
wouldn't be
right.
able to get that degree without a woman because she taught you. Some women have taught you how to read, write, clothe yourself. There is no reason why men should disrespect any woman. I don't care if you're on the outs with your mother. She's still your mother, and you still have to protect her. So yes, we are the second self of Allah. Respect us as that. Has some hat and just uplift us each and every day. We uplift you every day as you go to work. Make sure you're uplifting us as well because we are the second self of Allah.
That's right. And one of the things that we don't know, right, is because it's something that's not seen. But the woman, she has that womb. That womb, we're taught, right, is the factory place of God.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you talk about that womb, if you will, being the factory place of God, and how that's connected to the mind of the woman in shaping that child.
Wow. How to give birth to
Powerful.
a God.
Yes.
Um, it goes back to Mary, how, wow, how she closed herself off to give birth to Jesus. It's a factory. It's a
Right.
factory. And so when we're pregnant, we have to make sure that we stay away from negative things, because it influences our thought process, and the negative things that people say can automatic. Our child can hear it within the womb. So we are, in fact, we man, it's just so it's heavy, because we are the workshop of God. We birth into existence men for this world. So it's heavy, and I'm getting tongue tied because I just watched How to Give Birth to a God, and I'm just like, wow, wow,
Right.
wow.
Right. And that's
We're
why this,
literally we're
yeah.
literally breaking bones to give birth to women and men.
Mm,
I'm gonna say that again. We're literally breaking bones to give birth to women and men. So
mm,
if we run back that story and we tell our sons, boy, I literally broke bones. I went to death's door giving birth to you. So the least you can do is show me some respect. The least you can do is show your sister some respect. And the least you can do is show these sisters that's in the world some respect as well. We go to death's door, and people, and I think most of the men in this world forget that. We go to death's door. We can
mhm,
literally die bringing men and women to existence. So
mhm.
the protection of the black woman, the elevation of the black woman is needed more. It's needed more.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And like you said, you wouldn't have a Mary. I mean, you wouldn't have a Jesus unless you had a Mary. And so many of these great men that we mentioned in this world, they came from the womb of a black woman. Uh, and so that's powerful. And so we'll end it with this. And because I want to end it on this very serious note, because as you and I both know from the message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the garden, the criterion is that we're heading into a very dark time. We're heading into a very dark time. And I believe that that is one of the reasons why we want to talk about this modesty. So, if you can tell us the importance of the restrictive law, and we'll go ahead and close out with that. And if you can, once again, tell us how we can contact you and be a part of that beautiful organization, Modesty International.
so restrictive laws were put into play to keep us from evil and indecency. I'll always, every once in a while, I will post the restrictive laws on social media to help as a reminder to ourselves. We don't engage in evil and indecency. We don't engage in drinking, smoking, things of that nature. The restrictive law is to help to keep us balanced. And when you constantly read the restrictive laws, it's ingrained in your mind. So you think about doing anything indecent, your mind is going to be like, okay, that's in the restrictive laws. We can't do that. Your inner God is going to remind you of how you used to be. So restrictive law, it covers modesty as well. If you know you're not supposed to dress indecently, don't leave the house like that. Make sure that you have your drape scarf on, your headpiece on, your garment. That is your protection, and people
Mm,
need to know that. Um, that is your protection. So in order
mhm,
for brothers to protect you, you have to be dressed in a decent way. Even if you're dressed indecently, a brother's still going to help you. But
mhm,
in order for them to fully protect you, you got to be
mhm,
dressed modestly. So make sure, sisters, before you leave the house, make sure you're dressed in your drape scarf, your headpiece, you're dressed properly. Be the example for sisters that want to come to the Nation of Islam. Don't have one foot in the world and one foot in the Nation of Islam, because that's backwards. A lot of sisters are looking to you for guidance. So we have to be the women of God. Throw away the old woman and put on the new woman. And that is going to open the minds and hearts of the women that want to come in the Nation of Islam. If they see us acting properly, they're going to want to act properly as well.
mhm. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful. And as we close out, let us know once again how we can contact you or contact the organization, be a part of it.
You can contact us on Instagram under modesty_the_best_policy. Twitter, you can contact my personal page, which is MGT_modesty. Instagram, which is my personal page, Tamorah_the_healer. But we also have a Modesty International page on Twitter called Modesty Intel, which is short for international. And then on Facebook, we have a group called Modesty International. It's not just for women in the Nation of Islam. It's for women that want to learn about Islam and how you can process and what we're doing in the Nation of Islam. So if you feel like this is good for you, we welcome you, sister. We welcome you to learn all that we do as MGT and how we carry ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Any parting words before we close out?
Modesty is the best policy. Well, I'm going to keep ingraining that. Keeping ingraining that because the society has warped our minds to thinking that we need to be immodest 24/7, and that's not the case.
That's right.
We're classy women. Just, give it a chance. Just give it a chance. Dress modestly for one day. I challenge these sisters to dress modestly for a week and see how you feel. See how these brothers respect you when you walk outside the door. See how differently they treat you. I challenge you to do that.
Yes.
I challenge
that's
you.
That's a beautiful challenge. With all these, as we started in the beginning with these crazy challenges, that's a beautiful challenge.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna continue to lift and elevate and respect our Black women. Thank you, sister, for joining us. We look forward to having you on again in the future to talk more about Modesty International, because as we know, we're just as a people coming back into the knowledge of ourselves and embracing who we are. And this wicked society tries to shed out the light. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Like us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. And this is your host, Steve Muhammad with nnvnews.com.
Wake us up. Listen at these words, beloved, from Minister Farrakhan, quoting his teacher. And where there are no decent women, there can never be a decent man. And where women are hurled down, men can never be lifted up. So the destiny of the individual, the destiny of the nation, depends on the mother. The woman, true to her feminine nature, is really advanced over the man. Should I read that again? Come on now. He said this. Yeah. This is a man saying it. Thank you, please. Do it again. This is not me.
That's right. Good teacher.
The woman, when true to her feminine nature, is really advanced over the man.
She is.
Not because of her beauty, not because of her accomplishments, or even the nature of her love, but because she possesses the womb, the laboratory wherein are fashioned those who will inhabit the world, where she cooperates with or is an assistant to Allah God.
Come on now.
In the formation, reformation, and final completion of the human being.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
The nation must acquire land. Production of food, clothing, and shelter. Freedom is independent agriculture. Farming is the engine of the nation.